excited. We're going to talk about my crew, BVDs. We got a couple cats in the house. So first and foremost, we got the founder, president, and this guy is just amazing. I'm gonna show one clip real quick in case you don't know who I'm talking about. This is Papo Love. Here, raw, authentic, outlaw, Brooklyn style, burning. Boom, 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 boom. Hardcore burning right there. This guy is a legend, an OG, and I want to bring him on to talk a little bit about his history. You know what I mean? A little bit about his origins, specifically the BVD crew. Talk about where that comes from. So, without further ado, we got Papo Love. I don't have all the, I don't have all the sound effects or anything yet, but we're working on it. Yo, so what's good, Papo? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, thank God. You know, doing my thing and hanging out with my brothers out there across the world from all over, reaching out. We're not a Facebook crew, we're a crew, family crew. We, we meet from all parts of the world, literally meet and greet, learn from one another. Always been like that because I really believe in that now we have a global family.
Can you tell us a little bit, briefly, who you are and what style of dance do you do? And how would you describe it?
Basically, my type of style is reality, things that really does happen, and we do these gestures to clown around with one another because we don't know if we're making it the next day or maybe just make it that day. So we fuck out. So we act like we shoot you and shit, and they shoot back, and we're doing trigger shit and slashing. Slashing, I got that slashing from Rikers Island up on C-74 4 Main. So, you know, but and we used to practice the box cutting and that, and I thought it was pretty cool. So I'm trying to implement that with the outlaw shit, and then a lot of outlaws used to do that. Like Chinglings out there, they do their own shit. I used to be up and fucking with them. And I used to be with Dirty Riders back then, and at the same time, I started my crew called Choice Boys at that time, and then from Choice Boys we became BVDs, Brooklyn Vandal Destroyers, and then, but I wanted something different. I wanted like a rocking crew. Like, so I call it Brooklyn Vicious Dancers. I like the name Dancers because I really didn't want to have that rocker stigma, like, so and so rockers, dot 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 rockers. I like the like ASD dancers. They got dancer in it. You got FMD when Spice used to be the president when he started it off. It was the dancers. It was not just rockers. It was dancers. No, a lot of people don't talk about dancers and rockers.
Hmm.
So I added the hardest outlaw shit and criminal minded shit that I could think of that they do to one another or think about what they want to do to one another. And there's also, it turns more spiritual. It turns into like a war dance, like a war cry.
Okay.
And that's right.
What year did you start rocking? And who was the first people you saw rock?
Well, when I was young out there, '73. I was about 7 years old at that time. We used to be out there in Cortona Park of Belmont, and you had people running around, sprinklers, guys with their boombox dancing. At that time, it used to be called the Freak, and there used to be a crew out there. It was RCA at that time,
Okay.
and later on they turned into Rockwell Association. So I was that's basically where I learned a lot of my six steps and baby chairs and freezes with my cousin
What year were you born?
in '66.
66. Okay.
Yeah,
He was about 8 years old in 73.
yeah, about 7, 8 years old
Okay.
that time.
How long did you stay in the Bronx?
To '76, we moved to
Okay.
Coney Island at that time. Three Brightwater Court. I remember that back then. Brighton 4th Street and Brightwater Court, really on the corner. I was living there forever,
So was they
and then I
rocking
used
in
to.
the Bronx? Or was they breaking, or
Uh,
what was the dancing like out there?
they were basically the only one that used to uh do that was the cliques out there. You know, you had a lot of cliques. You had your Chingling because you got Hughes Streets right there. You know, and then they used to rock. You know, they used to have little block parties and stuff like that. And I used to watch them at house parties. I used to see them, when the break beats used to get up. Everybody just kung fu fighting, they just get off on that. I did a lot of floor work because I used to mess around with my cousin Nace and with my neighbors. And matter of fact, Nace moved to one first up in the Bridge Apartments up on Broadway. But we just doing our own thing out there in the Bridge Apartments, just practicing stuff, and then we back and forth from Coney Island to Manhattan, Coney Island, and then we started hanging out with my boy Peabody. He was a BBD out there in the chapters of Manhattan. It's your boy Fam Dudes.
In the Bronx, you had the RCA, right?
Yeah,
Which later became Rockwell Association,
right.
right? And you said your cousin Nace, where was
Yeah.
he from?
Well, he originally he's from Manhattan.
From
He's from
Manhattan.
Manhattan, yeah, uptown, basically up on Haven Avenue, up in the Cloisters area.
In the Bronx, that's where you learned your footwork when you lived out there, right? Or did you
Yeah, 'cause
learn
they
that
used to
later
do it. No, I learned it there, and we used to mimic it out there in the house, in the hallways, and our apartment building. My cousin, my, he used to live up in Ellesmere. I used to live up in Prospect, you know. And
hmm
I was in the corner up there, and right there is East Street, and boom, in the corner of that, right there in Ellesmere, Marmion, really. There's a cafeteria in there and shit, and it's still there to this very day. Right now, if we could get me a cup of coffee and a tortilla, you know.
Nice, nice. So,
But
so after you moved to Brooklyn, right? You moved to Brooklyn in
if
76 or 77, right?
you
And then
different,
yeah, tell
bro.
tell me about what happened after that, as far as the
Well,
dance, and as far as the dancing.
it was the homicides out there, and and they used to be all over the boardwalk, all over like war. Yeah, there was real deep homicide in there. They used to run. And I met them. I met the females and stuff like that. I got cool with the ladies and stuff like that, and then they were throwing on food out there and music. That's how I got to meet the fellas and stuff like that. They were rocking and stuff like that, and they were just a whole different. They did no footwork at all, just straight up rock, you know. And it
Mhm,
was
mhm,
you know, like that. I saw it a little bit up in the Bronx, but not as much.
mhm.
You know, they did have rock out there, but usually the outlaws out, the cliques that had that rock. But the other ones, you had your other type of people. They were more like what you call those boppers.
Mhm.
Those are they got outlaw ways, but they like to dress up nice. You know what I mean? They're
Almost like a superfly,
like yeah, like super fly type of stuff, like a Serpico shit, you know. Uh,
almost like a drug dealer or something like that.
Taxi type of shit, you know. And that's how it was, you know. And it was not just a dance; it was ranking on each other, you know. And we hear that beat, you know, and a homeboy, yo, I made a fresh tape, man. They put it on the boom box and they just start going off on that shit, you know. And then the little jits like me and the other ones, so I started learning from all this shit, you know, from when I learned out there in the Bronx, and then when I was learning up in Brooklyn, and I just ran with that shit, and it took me a long years to learn rock. I learned rock by getting burned like every day. And shit. Every day for me was like, shit. I used to love to get burned because I used to love to learn. You know, I was like, oh, okay. And you won't see me for a while after. Man, I lost so much, man. Shit, I lost shirts, shoes, jumped out third floor window. I did a lot for this motherfucker, man. So,
Who was some of the crews that you battled early on that used to school you, that used to burn you and stuff like that, if you could remember?
oh man, they used to burn the shit out of me all the time.
At
Yeah,
first, at first.
at oof, you had your crash crew, your proud crowd, your black sheep, your Puerto Ricans. Oh, they burnt the shit out of my CBS. Can't be stopped.
So when you moved to Brooklyn, you're 76, 77. That makes you around 12 years old at that point.
That's
You're
up.
you're running with the gangs, outlaw cliques, and you're picking up some dancing,
Yeah,
and then you're getting burned and you're learning. But on top of that, you're just completely embraced into the outlaw lifestyle. So
exactly.
it's not like you just like learned the dance but didn't learn the outlaw ways. It was you learned it all at one time, right?
Yeah, and and at that time I was about 12. I bounced out of the crib out of that time, you know, and I been, you know, I started living out on the streets. Not really in the streets. I was with my boys out there with Dragon Brothers, Dirty Riders, you know. I was hanging out with them. And then next thing I know, I was comfortable and started meeting other young bucks that used to be around me who started our own shit, you know. And everybody knew it, so they didn't care what we did, you know, because they loved us like that, you know, because we were, we ain't we kept to ourselves and never really make too much problems, you know.
Hmm.
So rocking crews and breaking crews started coming out of Coney Island, you know, because it was a more peaceful way to express yourself rather than being in a 7-0 precinct, you know.
Right.
But it kind of changed everything. It gave being in the street something different. It was about flavor. It was about who got who got the better who's a better burner or who got the better style. Like like I said, every block, every neighborhood have their own style, you know, all style, you know. Everybody got their own style. You got Bushwick style. That's like religion and shit, you know. They don't like to teach that shit, you know. They but you can't sleep on those motherfuckers, you know. But they hit hard, you know. They rap good. Also, you got boys from Park Slope, nasty. You got boys from Bay Ridge, nasty. Borough Park, nasty. Parks, say Sunset Park, also Sunset Park as well. You know, out there in Coney Island, there was so many people over there, so many rockers from all over the fucking place. Excuse my French.
Hmm.
There was so many rockers out there. We used to be out there in the and Crazy Homicide ran all that shit.
Oh,
You
really?
know, yeah. My boy Crazy ran that. Crazy and Jesse and Caesar. They ran the Himalayas. They were the DJs for that shit there. You know. Oh, they used to play everything, man. They used to play dope music. You know. They played. Man, they played a lot of funk, a lot of like dance. That was big, you know. They had the Apache. They had everything there. You had Shaft in Africa. You had everybody kung fu fighting and shit. You know. Um,
And you guys used to battle right there at the on the Himalayas.
yeah, man. Yeah, when they used to break, yeah, man. Yeah, we used to break right there. That was like the mega man. That was in the '70s. In the '80s was getting even. Oof, he was even better. You know, they used to come as far from Connecticut.
Wow,
Yeah, man.
wow. Yeah. So
Uh,
so the Himalayas was the spot to be.
in New York, yes, sir. At that time, they had the Webble dance and shit. Dun, 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 dun. Man, that shit was so dope. And
Well, that was in the 80s.
yeah, in the '80s,
Yeah.
you know. And I mean, from the '70s, that really went kind of quick for me
Hmm.
because basically you had a lot of ruins around. You had a lot of fucked up buildings. We used to stay there just to stay out of the cold, you know.
Hmm.
But we had not just the rock, but we had our friendship, not more than friendship, our brotherhood together.
How did the BVDs start? How did that start?
Honestly, we started out there in the handball court, right off Grady, and we was playing handball, and and those kids, there was like saying, oh, those kids look so vicious, It's like those vicious dancers are like, oof, careful, don't you hear all the people talking crap. And next thing we know, I liked the name Brooklyn, you know. At that time, we were running around as Brooklyn Vandal Destroyers, So I was like, we wanted something different, like I said. And I said, yeah, let's call it Brooklyn Vicious, because we battled with so many different types of people with that. We picked up with a lot of different style, not just with outlaw style. We picked up everything, RD, ASD, FMD. We picked up every type of style that came at us or saw, and we incorporated it into what we have now. And it's a style of Burns. And we were known for that up in the '80s. And to this very day, we known for that. And with no rules, no restrictions. You have your own style. You want to come down, boom, 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 bang. You come down. You want to stay planted. You stay planted. You do whatever you feel. But when that break comes in, that's when y'all come together, exchange. But basically, it's more spiritual,
Would we consider more of like a crew from your era? We today we would probably consider it like a gang or like a street family, or because like I said, nowadays we have dance crews, but back then I feel like, and you could expound on this, it was more like a crew slash gang. Can you talk about that?
Depends. It depends what mentality they are because all cliques are all different. I can't talk for everyone. Yeah, every clique is different. They got their own rules. They got their own set. You look for loyalty, but that's it. But this type of gang it's not a gang. It's a dancing. Uh, it's a very artistic gang, and they like music. You got DJs that comes out from it. They like having people gathering together in the kitchen and living room, just jamming out 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. You know, and they grow into bigger things. They get into clubs. Having that gathering of people dancing. You're looking at. your crowd, and you go and you put the music. What makes them dance? You know. They used to come in our neighborhood and put drugs, sell weed out of our neighborhood. So I said, oh yeah. So we used to stick them up all the time. So we used to have a lot of enemies. So that we were known for that. You come in our neighborhood, set up, best believe we're gonna stick your ass up and smoke your shit. So we had a lot of heat back then, all the way from Flatbush, Sheepshead Bay, you know. We used to be up in El Park. We used to practice right down there. Right, it's called El Park. You had Nasty with Rock there. You had the Sure Shop crew. Shout out to Uni, good dude. I don't know if it's still alive or not, but you had some good rocking crews over there. You know, matter of fact, that's where I met Burn, Burn and Burn One. I met him out there for the first time. Um, then he used to hang out with my brother Cass One.
You mentioned L Park, right?
Yeah.
L Park. Now, I want you to break down L Park as far as the significance in rocking and breaking, right, in the 80s. Like, what kind of role did L Park play in Brooklyn for you
Oh
guys?
man, it played a big part. That was battleground there. You had a lot of crews battling for El Pop. A lot of crews. Yeah, Sure Shop. You had Nasty with Rock. You had TNT. Five of the crew, they broke up. They weren't around anymore. But there was other crews, you know, and especially from all over Brooklyn, East New York. You had your Midnight Riders. They used to come down. Himalaya had his own magic. It was from everywhere. You don't know where they come from. They could come from Bay Ridge. They could come from Park Slope, Borough Park. They could come from Iguana. They could come from Flatbush. They could come from Greenpoint. You had a lot of good Greenpoint rockers out there. You know, you had guys out there from Bushwick, like from Marcy Avenue. They used to come from out there, East New York. You had a lot of rockers, man, from everywhere, and a lot of them were in different cliques. Had that rock, trying to get out of that gang scene and getting into that rock scene. And they're rocking them Pumas and the Lees. A lot of people started changing from MCs, comeback boots to ponies and and Adidas and Pumas. You know, it started changing, and then I started getting to graffiti. Getting hardcore. You know, Park Slope was real on with that. Coney Island. You had a lot of good artists out there in Brooklyn. And we had our own flavor. We had our own. We were Brooklyn is its own world, bro. And we do our own thing. We don't, so, like I said, every block is different, you know. But and that's how I teach. I teach it that way. I teach it. Every person is different, so you rock different. But there's a concept behind that.
Let me ask you this question. I'm talking about the battles, like let's say Break Till Dawn versus NWR. Let's say that they was battling at El Park, right? So they meet up to battle, right? And how would that battle? Would they rock? Would they break? Would they do both? Or how would that go down?
They did with floor and rock. Because we bought that concept and they liked that concept. They started doing it themselves. But and that's how we used to battle floor and rock. It was. We didn't even look at it at anything else. When you battle, you gotta have floor and your rock. You know, sometimes we do our thing, boom boom. You call him out, then the guy comes out, accepts his call out, and next thing you know, when the break comes in, boom boom. and we get down like that, and then we hit the floor work, pop, 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 you know, finish with our rock. His turn, we do our rock, you know, and then we do the floor work. We won't do a freeze, you know. The other one jumps in, do the same, and that goes on all day. And then after that, we go play handball, you know. But we had a lot of respect for each other. We fought with each other and stuff like that, you know. But that was the rock talking, you know. But the next day, we battling again, and we back in the Hannibal court hanging out again, you know, the thing.
So next guy I want to bring in real quick. He's a really backbone staple to the crew. Um, you know, this guy, him and Papo, really um, brought back the BVDs um, in this generation. Him and his brother, and you know, BVDs has become a force to reckon with once again. So without further ado, bringing in Cooks.
What up?
Yo, what up, Cooks?
What's going on?
So I want to talk to you too.
Where?
And I want to talk about how the BBDs got started again.
Okay.
So can you go into that and what happened? What's the story about that?
Well, Scoobs met Papo, right? I guess he was looking for The Rock or for Life 9. Life 9 told Papo, told Scoobs, if you want to know somebody really dope, you know about Rock, like go find this guy. And Scoobs went and found him, and then he started training with Papo. You know what I mean? And I guess it goes like, as they were training, they started like building together. You know what I mean? Because he was training with them for a long time. And one day, Papo asked him like, "Yo, what's your crew?" And Scoop says like, "My crew's Battleholics." And then Papo's like, "I can see myself being a Battleholic." And then that's it. And then he got down with Battleholics. I think it was Scoop, Groove, and Kike were the ones that from Battleholics that started learning from Papo Luv before anybody.
How's it been learning rock from Papo? You know, like obviously you was a b-boy before, um, and now 2010, 2009, you're getting into the rock. So how's that transition? How was that experience, and how is it learning from Papo, specifically his style of rock?
I learned from Papo when he came down to Orange County for the first
Got you,
time in my backyard. He taught me,
got you, got
and
you.
then he did some classes. You know what I mean, like for us, and he taught us when he was out here, and then he left, and then I learned from him again when I traveled. I was traveling USA,
Hmm.
like that part, and then I went to Jacksonville and I stayed with Papo. I stayed at his house and I lived with him for a little bit, and I learned how to rock from Papo
Hmm.
right there. And I stayed with them, and that's why I learned like the BBD style. We weren't BBDs yet. We were Battleholic rockers. So when we started doing freestyle session, right, with Rob Nasty, so we did like two of them with him, right? So the first year that we did it, we brought back the BBDs that year, and it was gonna be just Battleholic. You know what I mean? People from Battleholics. You know what I mean? That knew how to rock. So it was originally it was just Scoops, um, Scoops, Groove, Kike, and I think that's it. If I'm not missing anybody, I think it was just us. That's it. We're the only. And Aya, GY Rock, GY Rock.
GY,
He's the
okay.
original BBD with us. So yeah, so the Battleholics, you know what I mean? And then Papa Love, like, I think Papa Love wanted to bring the BVDs back, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So then we talked to him, you know what I mean? And we're like, we're gonna bring it back, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So when we seen you and then you took the Papa Love workshop, right?
Yeah.
So that was like the second. So we're already we had T-shirts that right there, BVD T-shirts that year.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's and GY Rock came down that year. You know what I mean? Aya was there, Poe was there. You know what I mean? And Poe was already a BBD too because of, you know what I mean, he was brought up with the BBDs.
Well, that's when I first met Papo. You guys had him do a workshop in California.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, you guys had been training with him for a couple years now.
Yes.
But you just decided to bring out BVDs like that year or the year before.
Yeah, because we started getting like I already had I was traveling Mexico, you know what I mean? I was
Mm-hmm.
traveling a lot already, and I noticed that like when I was travel, I will rock against people, right? And then like I'll have burns, you know what I mean? And they'll be rocking differently. And even
Mm-hmm.
when I went to Florida, you know what I mean? I went to Orlando to this event out there, and then I remember like I was rocking against somebody, and then they're like, "No, you rock different, yo. Like your shit's like violent, like you know what I mean? Like vicious, you know what I mean? Like your shit's it's different, you know what I mean?" I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, "Y'all, it's the BBD style," you know what I mean? That's why I really like told Papa we need to bring the BBDs back, you know what I mean? Because our
Yeah.
style stood out, you know what I mean? I was like, look, you know what I mean? They, like when I went places, like people like, you know what I mean? They're like they saying it's like different, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I had been watching Papo for years, and I had never met him because I didn't really go to Florida too much. I went to New York. He wasn't in New York at
Mm-hmm.
the time. He was in Florida. So and he was pretty underground too. Like he wasn't really going to all the breakdance events, or he wasn't going to the rock events. And so I just kind of like watched a lot of his footage, but I was always impressed, and intrigued by his style, fascinated because it wasn't like anybody else's rock style, and the thing about it was that you couldn't predict where his moves were going. It's like every time I watch, I would see something different and see something new that I'd never seen before, and that was what attracted me to it. Plus, he burned the way he burned. I was considered nice at burning. I had already, um, I had got the nickname the man with the billion burns
Mm-hmm.
from my breaking. I used to burn a lot in breaking, and I was into the rock, so I burned a lot in rocking. But when I saw Papo, I was like, yo, that is burning on another level. So when I saw Papo, I'm like, yo, this guy is burning like nobody I had ever seen before. And it wasn't just burning, it was so stylish. It was so stylish. It wasn't just burn, it was stylish burns. And I was like, yo, I need to learn that. So when I took the workshop and when I met him, it was like all love. Man, he showed me so much love, and he really bends over backwards for people in the crew and just people in the scene and for the scene. You know what I mean? And I couldn't be happier. He would call me, and he would give me pointers, give me lessons. Whenever I asked.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so eventually, I'm just like, yo, what's up with the BVDs? Like, can I get down? And he was just like, yo, not only can you get down, I want you to be my vice president. I was shocked, bro. I was shocked, and that's when I felt like that respect. You know what I mean? That
Mm-hmm.
respect that I had, as somebody who had been rocking for a while. I've battled the best. I think that he recognized the skills that I had. You know what I mean? And he just
Mm-hmm.
kind of wanted to poke at it. You know what I mean? To see what I was made out of. And so that's kind of how I took it.
I remember when you got when they said when they asked about you getting down, you know what I mean? And
Uh
we said like, yeah, he should be, you know, you're so much more into, you know what I mean? You have so much more years into rock, you know what I mean?
huh.
Than me and Scoop, since even though we were like, you know what I mean, with Bopple for a while already, we felt that like we can't like lead or we can't, you know what I mean, lead a crew that we're barely learning how to rock, you know what I mean?
Uh huh.
We just felt that, like, you know what I mean, you and Papo together, you know what I mean, the BBDs, you know what I mean, can be way something really good with that leadership, you know what I mean, and then we could just be like in the back, you know what I mean. When before you, right, we were just the BBDs and we were just putting work, battling, you know what I mean. We're a crew, but we weren't like, you know what I mean. We're like low pro, just us, me, Papo, Scoobs, you know what I mean. We're all just learning. We didn't come out like that. And then when you got involved, you improved it, you made it better, and you guys created the, you know what I mean, the school, you know what I mean. It felt like you came with organization, you know what I mean, like we're actually like a real crew, you know what I mean, because like I said, we were just a couple of us, you know what I mean. I felt like it was the beginning of, like, you're the missing link, you know what I mean, the missing piece. And after you were there, and then we had Paul, you know what I mean, I felt like that gave us the drive, you know what I mean, to do what we started doing, you know what I mean, as BVDs.
Cool, cool. We got you. All right. So, yeah. So, I I got a couple names, Papo. I want to throw at you. We're going back to the history and the origins of the BVDs, right?
Mhm.
So, Stacy and Drac, Cell One, Black Powerful, Lewis and his brother
Yeah, Louis, Dr. Lou.
and his brother Jay, Lewis and his brother Jay from the Bronx. Tito, is it Tito and Victor?
You got Victor Tito. You had Savage. Yeah, you had Augie.
Augie,
Uh,
yeah, Augie.
and you had Local Joey. You had Tito. That's the one I went to PR.
Oh, really? Okay. And that's how Poe. That's
Mm-hmm.
those are the guys that Poe met. They was graffiti writing BVDs in Puerto Rico, and there were some Brooklyn guys, and so Poe was inspired by those guys. So when he met Papo later on, um, they had that connection already. So that's one of the main reasons why Poe is down with the BVDs.
Paul got his name from the BBDs.
Right.
Each one is, I guess, it's each letter of two different guys. Pac was one guy, and I forgot the other guy. So that's where he
Um.
got his name from. And they're graffiti BBDs were graffiti writers too.
Right. Right. Puck and Zoe, I think it is.
Zoe, Puck and Zoe. Yeah,
Yeah.
so he got the P from Puck and the OE from Zoe. Poe.
Okay. So yeah. So those are those are some of the members, some of the original members. Um, Tito, Augie, Victor. Uh, let's see. Black Powerful, Stacy and Drac. You remember them? Yeah, Stacy and Drac. Cell One, Lewis
He's from
and Jay. Lewis and Jay.
mhm. We were hanging out in the bar, you know, and there were these guys, and they were dancing and stuff like that. So we went up to them, and, we started chilling and talking stuff like that. Next thing you know, we started battling, like it was like a cipher. Started off like a cipher and shit. And then next thing you know, we started breaking, and I started doing my shit. Ken Swift was doing his stuff. Wiggle was popping real nice. I was like, what the fuck? They were rocking, but we had that shit. Forget it. The rock, we on fire with that shit. And then Fables will start explaining this, the popping and stuff like that. Real cool. So that gave us something to learn. It gave us something new to learn. The only one that did popping out of the whole crew was Nene. They were doing Little Rock, but they got into the popping mode. You know, they did some floor work. We did floor work. You know, they did head spins. I did head spins. You know, they did their thing. I did my thing. It was tits for tats. You know, and
Yeah.
then the shit popping. You know, it's like, oh shit. So that was, you know, we didn't know anything about it. The only one that knew anything about it was Nene. You know, so we put Nene in front of them. They burnt the shit out of it. And that shit was so funny.
Yeah. So,
Yo, Kenny confirmed this story to me, by the way, in Mexico. So Ken Swift can confirm this story to me that
oh,
this really
cool.
happened. Yeah.
That's
You
dope.
know,
That's dope.
I'll never lie to you.
Yo, I got some. I want to show you this footage, Papo.
That shit was so
Uh,
funny.
I want to get you. I want to get your take on this footage. Okay, there we go. Can you see it?
Yeah,
What do you think about their? How do you feel about their rocking?
beautiful. You know, look at that.
Does,
Clean.
does that look like a Brooklyn style rocking to you?
Looks like it, yeah. Straight burns. What you looking for? They nothing fancy, just straight burns. That's Brooklyn.
So would you say that that's something similar to how y'all was rocking, or was y'all rocking totally different?
No, basically like that. You know, we were kids, like exactly like that, nothing different. You know, had a lot of we had a lot of six steps, freezers, baby chairs, and then we used to do a lot of rocking with it. You know, I grew up in both worlds because I used to go back and then really three worlds. I used to be back and forth from Manhattan. First when I moved to Brooklyn, see my cousin out there in the Bronx, back and forth. Then he moved out to the Bridge apartment, and at that time, that Rockwell Association, you know. So I started hanging out with them. And, so I used to bring like different flavors out to New York. I mean to Brooklyn, you know, do my flow there, and then do my rocking with it, you know, mixed to it, you know. So it was really fun. I really enjoyed it, you know. And to see it repeating itself is really nice. It gives the breaking more of a back rocking than top rocking. Top rocking is nice, but you put burns behind that shit, you wouldn't want to top rock no more. You just want to rock. After you get that fever, man, that's the missing link. You know, matter of fact, your whole story is from your rock, and then your floor work is where it's your ultimate burns and stuff like that. And then you throw a freeze off it. You know, you don't continue. You like freeze off, and then you back off, and they finish it off with your rock. But you know, I learned from a lot of different styles from everything, and I just put it all together. And that's what I have today. And I made it into different sections and different levels, and I don't deviate from that. And it works, you know. It's battle driven, and I used it a lot. Um, and then once I got that system going in the '80s, basically, that's when I really started coming out with my rocking. Then I started, you know, I just went into a whole different level after that. Now I know every angle of different types of rocking because I've been around it, and I've been around good people that I got to exchange with, and it's good that it's still in a format where we could still exchange. And the rocking is something that it's not a joke. It's rocking is something that kind of save your life. You know, it's from real battles, from real gang wars sometimes. And that's basically a lot of that came from cliques, you know, and they usually keep the peace. And that's why our sister used to arrange parties and stuff like that, but we could vent our testosterones, you know, because we get so crazy and we doing stupid stuff, killing and warring. So the girls, they kind of like set up these little events where they could gather together everybody without killing themselves. And
Who
you know,
who was a rocker that was like like a big like somebody that you're like, oh wow, like that everybody knew, you know what I mean? Like that it was this like the guy. Who was the guy back then in the areas that you're in?
back then when I was coming,
Yeah.
well, back then you had Spice, you had Sano 3, you had Smoke, aka Smokey, um, Sinbad. I mean, that boy Sinbad was really nice. You know, that boy Sinbad was a really good rocker. But he became, what do you call it, a guardian angel. But that's a whole different story.
Papo. So you toured, right? Asia, Europe, but you also toured and you entered all these major battles like Outbreak. You went to, you know what I mean? IBE. You entered freestyle session. What made you like want to enter all these battles as a rocker? Like these are breaking battles, right? One on one. You know what I mean? What made you want to go? You're already traveling. What made you want to enter? Like,
Um, because I wanted to. It our style ain't dead, and then for them to see that old school technique, that missing link, they're like, wow. And I know they were all watching. They all appreciated it too. I felt it, and I did it because I had to for within myself and the crew that I'm with. Uh, they make me alive. They make me keep what I have, and it gives me a lot of strength. And I do my thing. Thank God, I enter these competitions and to see the crew name BVDs up there, man. It was kind of cool. I got pictures of that too.
right? So you also battle King Uprock. You battle Spin. You know what I mean? You battle all these. Like you came back to rock, and you also battled all these people. You know what I mean? Um, what are you gonna do now? I know you threw an event in Asia. You know what I mean? Your own event, Coda Burns. What's Papa Love? You know what I mean? Future. You know what I mean? Where are you planning to go? We know what we're gonna do with the BVDs. You know we have Outlaw Rock Form. You know what I mean? You have Run. You know what I mean? So what's your future? What's next, bro?
I don't know. It depends on how we looking, but we looking so far as Brazil. You know, um, Brazil. I like to go visit Pulgante. He puts a lot out there with the community, and BBDs was like that. And I took care of Nene when he was young. He was living with us. And Chucho. Chucho also went to Puerto Rico for a minute. Petoro and them. They were all cousins. You know, he was living with me when he was like 10, 11 years old. I mean, there was a lot of stray kids, man, out there, and I was one of them, man. I can tell you, it's spiritual for me. Um, I really don't like to compete. I like to have fun, I have a good time, but I like to rock, and I like to teach. But like what you said, what's my main goal? And my main goal for our crew is to make an economy for our crew, and use our talent to make an economy to continue our art. And what we possess is an art. It's a beautiful art. You could define it the way you want to, but it has its principles. It has there's a technique that we teach and stuff like that. You know, We just don't teach you just rock. We teach you a concept.
Yo, Vic. So we're gonna have the BBD anniversary in Colombia this year. You know what I mean? This year we're doing the BBD anniversary, and it's basically the Latin America BBD. You know what I mean? Anniversary in Colombia. You know what I mean? And then we're also doing the another jam. You know what I mean? Rock Wars. You know what I mean? Which is the following week. So we're kind of like making like we want to make like Colombia like a central part of rock in Central America. You know what I mean? So we're doing a double event. You know, King Up Rock's gonna be at the other one. Papa Love's gonna be judging at the other one. You know what I mean? So BVD anniversary. We had already some qualifiers. We had a qualifier in Mexico. We had another qualifier in Chile, and we had another qualifier in Brazil. I mean in Bolivia, and then we had one in Medellin. So all those people are automatically going to the BVD anniversary. They're gonna get their flights are gonna get paid for and everything. So they're automatically gonna be coming, and they automatically are part of like entering. You know what I mean? The battles. I think it's gonna be top four because I think there are four. You know what I mean? And then we'll
Nice.
just get, and then
Nice.
we're gonna choose four. You know what I mean? The judges, we're really like, we're gonna let everything out soon. You know what I mean? On
Mm-hmm.
who's going to be judging and everything and how it's all going to go. You know what I mean? Brian has more of the details because he's out in Colombia. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's working on everything. We're going to be releasing a flyer soon. You know what I mean? And you're going to see social media stuff and all this stuff.
When is that expected to happen?
That's going to be in August. I want to say it's the beginning of August. You know what I mean? I want to say it's going to be in the beginning of August.
Got you.
It's going to be a really dope event.
Nice. I look forward to seeing more of the promotion for that. But yo, Cooks, thank you, bro. Appreciate you coming
Oh, no
on.
worries.
You know, it was cool chopping up with you. Hopefully, we got a little bit of perspective. You know, as far as a little bit of the history of the crew.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not too many BVDs, original BVDs around. Probably just one or two, but from what I understand, there was a vastly big crew back in the days, and they was all nasty. So you know, definitely see Papo, you know, his style, and just imagine. I could just only imagine, you know, what a whole crew of Papos would be like back in the day. So you know what I mean. But thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Any last words you want to say?
Just want to tell everybody that BBDs, we're a crew. We're here for like to build with everybody. You know, we want our goals is to build with everybody. You know what I mean? And that's why we do the Outlaw Rock Forum. That's why we do Run. You know what I mean? And that's why we do all these jams and we do all the stuff that we do because like we're here to make everything better, to build. You know what I mean? To put rock on a something on a higher level than what it already is. You know what I mean? So just so everybody can know, we're here for the culture. Like BVDs are for the culture, and we're about everybody.
Nice, nice. That's what's up. All right, y'all.
There he is.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys, and stay tuned.